Wow. So even if you're not living your life like you're golden, you're going to feel it right now. That was amazing. I love that. I love that. Feeling like your life like it's golden. Feeling my life like I'm living it like it's golden. That's right. Do you guys feel like you're living your life like it's golden?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes? Kirby, you shouted out that yes. Tell me why.
Well, it's a decision I've made.
Oh, I like that. It's a decision I've made. So it comes not from outside, but from within.
Yep.
Living my life like it's golden because it comes from within. Anybody else? Living their life like it's golden? Jim? You're not living your life like it's golden? No, okay. Platinum? All right. Platinum works. Karen?
Oh, feeling the love.
Yeah. Feeling the love makes you feel like you're living your life because you have a lot of love to give. You do. You give a lot of love, and it brings that harmony into us. For me, the song has a lot to do about freedom, right?
Yeah.
Living your life like you're golden. That song to me is about freedom. She even says, pulling my freedom from the shelf. And I love that line because it's like someone's forgotten that they are free and have to bring that back down from the shelf. Put it up there for whatever reasons. Why do we give up our freedom? Why do we give up our reactions or how we think or what we do to other people or other situations? Who knows? But when she's pulling down that freedom, it speaks to me. It speaks to me because I feel like I've given up some of my freedom in the last few weeks. I feel like that freedom has gone. Ernest Holmes says, the divine plan is one of freedom. The inherent nature of man is ever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom because freedom is the birthright of every living soul. I don't understand what he said, but I had to get to it. At the very beginning, I said, yes, that's right. I feel it. I get it. Yes, freedom is the birthright, but the inherent nature of man is ever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom? I thought it would be love or creativity, but freedom? So it took me down the road of really thinking. Again, going off of what's been happening in my life, feeling like I've given up some of my own freedom. He continues and says, the road of freedom lies not through mysteries or occult performances, but through the intelligent use of nature's forces and laws. The law of mind is a natural law in the spiritual world. Aha. The road to freedom lies not through mysteries or occult performances, but through the intelligent use of nature's forces and laws. And that's when I understood that I had not been using natural forces intelligently, the natural forces that we all inherently have, that we're born with, that are our birthright. Even in the song, freedom is my birthright, she sings. Freedom is my birthright. It's all of our birthrights. And from there, we get the opportunity to choose how we use this freedom. So when he says here, through intelligent use of nature's forces and laws, the law of mind, I realized that I had not been using my mind intelligently. And I think freedom is one of those things that's ever unfolding, as is creativity, as is, enlightenment or being more in love or feeling more empowered by yourself, because these words are really just empowering words. And I have not felt empowered. And it's funny because I listened to Dr. Tiffany's talk last week, which was brilliant. And I thought, is it just me and Tiffany having this situation? Or is everybody having this situation? I don't know. But if it's out there for one, it's out there for many. And so I know that the onion peeling of freedom, of feeling our brilliance through what is occurring in our life, has to be something that we take a look at. That we have to take a look at how are we using this in the intelligent use of mind. As Ernest Holmes says, now I'm going to rank on the intelligent. As Ernest Holmes says, trained mind is far more powerful than an untrained mind. And the operative word there being trained. Because we have the opportunity to train our mind, to train ourselves in what it is that we do, what we express, and most of all, what we believe and what we think. So 6 weeks ago, I started on a new venture. And it was extremely exciting. I'm working on something with my dear friend Angie Gustafsson, and I'm working on something with Francisco Vargas, too, on our Spanish language venture into New Thought, Spanish language, the GTC Español. And the more as I'm diving into these two projects and getting super excited about this, I have these little pebble in the shoe thoughts that come up. You're too old. Okay, that's whatever. You're not an entrepreneur. You've never done anything like this before. And they seemed so small and minute at the time that I never really addressed it. I thought, oh, whatever. It's not a big deal. Like, those are silly thoughts, until one day those silly thoughts that were once pebble in the shoe were things that were making my feet bleed. It's kind of like the Grand Canyon, right? It took millions of years to get the Grand Canyon, to Mount Everest, the Victoria Falls, the Great Reef Barrier. Barrier Reef, see? Now I'm gonna have a new thought in my head. Damn it. No, my point is, things start small and they accrue if you don't address it immediately. And that, I suddenly realized, it was kind of like, oh my God, what's happening here? What's happening to me? Like, why am I actually falling down this rabbit hole? And as my dear friend, Dr. Lori Savage says, if you're gonna fall down the rabbit hole, make sure that your feet stick out so I can get you. And she's gotten me a few times, so thank you so much, Dr. Lori. And then I took a vacation. Then I decided that I really needed to take myself out of the space. I went to Switzerland for 2 weeks and allowed myself the space to just be, to allow whatever shows up in my mind to show up, and to remind myself that I have been in a teaching and in a study that allows me to be intelligent about my freedom, to be intelligent about my thoughts, to be intelligent about my beliefs. Because how many times do we just allow our beliefs to take hold and don't think about them? I'll deal with that later. I'll deal with that later. But at some point, you're staring at the Grand Canyon and going, how did I get here? And that's where I was. Until I got away, until I was able to remove myself enough to remind myself who I am and really reach out to people in this community to say, I know that you know the truth of who I am in a moment when I don't know the truth of who I am, even though really I know the truth of who I am. But we are here because we need to be reminded. I need to remember who I am. I need to forget myself so that I only remember God, or remember God so that I forget myself. Because when I come from that space, I know I'm brilliant. I know I'm unstoppable. I know that there is nothing that I cannot do. But I will tell you that even in the light of this adversity that was happening in my own head, wasn't created by anybody else, I recognized very much that it was just me. I was able to recognize the beauty of what was happening. I have this quote from author Arthur Golden, who wrote Memoirs of a Geisha. Thor, thank you. Adversity is like a strong wind. It tears away from us all but the things that cannot be torn so that we see ourselves as we really are. That's remembering who you are. When everything else falls away so that you are rooted in who you are, who you know yourself to be, reminding yourself that there is nothing greater than you, that all the stars in the sky, every energy that has ever been is exactly who you are, that the thought of you was placed in motion to be exactly where you are and to reach the desires that you want. That is the truth. That is the truth. And I have to continue to remind myself through others when I'm off doing things that are bigger than I am right now, that there is a potential that thoughts will show up, the adversity will show up, but all of that will be torn away because I know who I am at all times, no matter what. So when I was in Switzerland, I had the opportunity to hike the Alps. Now, I was told we were going to go on a hike, but I was thinking like a California hike. I didn't realize we were trekking. I did not bring the right shoes, but that's okay. I still went. Thor, will you show me the next slide, please? This is a picture from one of our hikes, if you can see this. There's a little house that's right on the side of this mountain that was built in the 1800s. And the only way we had to get off the road in order to, there's a road that goes on here, but that's not the most traveled road. There's another road that keeps going up the mountain. We chose this one so that we could actually come into a different view to see what was there. And talk about being blown away. Talk about feeling at one, at peace, and in the silence. This was it. And it reminded me of a quote by actor Chris Pine. I saw him it was in an interview, and he said this: "The only thing you sometimes have control over is perspective. You don't have control over a situation, but you have a choice about how you view it." And as I was going up the Alps, and coming back down, up and down again, every now and then I had to stop and check out the view. Check out the view of where I had come from, where I was going, and what was surrounding me. And in every direction, I felt the beauty that was around. It was as if I had taken what was going on in my head and made it more of a physical challenge for myself, so that I could turn my perspective around and not have it be me beating myself down, but me looking out to see what this adversity has created for me in order to rise up even higher than I have already been, in order to meet that challenge and make it an opportunity, and know that in this field of all possibility, as they say in quantum physics, there is only choice. Ernest Holmes says this: "Heaven is within us, and we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it." That's what he meant by freedom. What I didn't understand before, I understood in that time. What I didn't understand when he said, the divine path is one of freedom. The inherent nature of man is ever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom, because freedom is the birthright of every living soul. What he meant was, heaven is within us, and we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. And this is what we talk about all the time, right? There's a greater consciousness that knows itself to be, and it is only love. It is always only love. That is all there ever is. And yes, you can argue with me and say, but there's wars, and there's people that don't like each other, and there's hate. But I'm going to challenge you to really believe that it is only love. It is only love vibrating at a very, very, very low vibration, very low energy, that is seeking to be brought back up to the type of love that inspires, to the type of love that gives, to that type of love where there is oneness. There's the namaste that Eric was talking about. The God in me sees the God in you. That's our charge, to bring that low vibration of love that is seen as fear and hate, and bring it up to that oneness, that light, that love, that feeling, that joy. As Thomas Troward says, the purpose of life is to enjoy it. And how are we doing this? And he didn't say you're not going to run across adversity. He didn't say you're not going to stumble across obstacles. He never said that. He just said that the purpose in life is to enjoy it. So all those things you're going to stumble on, and how do you move past it? And like I said, for me, a lot of times it's calling people from this community to say, I need you to remind me who I am. In this quote, what Ernest Holmes is also recognizing is our affirmation for this month, right? The brilliance of the universe flows through me now. That's what he's saying, that the heaven that is within us is flowing through me right now. And it's flowing as me. And it's flowing as a piece of inspiration to draw others. As Dr. Eric said, when I see it in you, I see it in myself, and I see it back in you, reflecting from person to person. And that's that type of brilliance. The title of my talk today is Lightning in a Bottle. When I was walking in the Alps, it started to rain. Definitely not my favorite thing. Now I don't have the right shoes on, I don't have the right gear on, and it's starting to rain. Okay, got it. I'm in, bring it on, bring it on. But it turned out to be one of my favorite days. And from far away, we had the opportunity to see lightning. This beautiful lightning that was over a lake that was a little further down. And it was stunning to me. And I realized the energy of that lightning is exactly who we are. Each and every one of us is lightning in a bottle. The definition of lightning in the bottle, which means, capturing something, holding onto something that is powerful. That's who each and every one of us is. It's that power, that being, that thing that is so original that nobody else is. That's who you are. That's who I am. We are that individualized consciousness of the one consciousness that is everything. We are that lightning in the bottle. And that's who you are. And that's who I am. And I'll leave you with this last quote by Neil deGrasse Tyson. And this is another picture. This picture, when we finally got to the bottom, which it was literally a 4.5-hour hike. And that's long for me. And they told me that was the easy hike. I will never listen to them again, ever. If they had Uber, I would have called them. It's okay, I can do that. But when we got to the bottom, this was the lake that I was telling you that I looked at when we saw the lightning strike. And even looking at it now, there's nothing filtered about that photo. I felt so at peace. I felt so at one. And I felt exactly what this quote says. When I look up in the universe, I know I'm small, but I'm also big. I'm big because I'm connected to the universe, and the universe is connected to me. That's how big and small I felt. That's how micro and macro I felt when I was there. And it was grand. It was brilliant. It was amazing. And it took me out of that space in my head that I allowed myself to swirl down, to remind me of the grandness, the vastness, the bigness that life has to offer. I'm not done. I'm 54. And that might seem old to people, that might seem you're done to people, but look at Dr. James and Kevin. Well, I didn't mean it like that. I meant to say, they're still going at it. They're still creating. They're still continuing and doing new things. I am never, ever speaking here again, just so you know. This is my last one. I will be walking through cold next week. Okay, that's fine. No, I just mean to say that you guys never, ever, you don't let anything stop you. You get an idea and you go with it. You create something, you see any obstacles that show up, and they mean nothing. They may look like a boulder in a second, but the next second, they're not. They're non-existent. And I see you guys constantly creating something new. And that's what I'm saying. I love that energy that you guys have. And that's because I'm creating something new, and I've never had to feel that I'm doing something completely new. I can't even balance a checkbook. Now I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I can't actually balance a checkbook. But I'm doing something new, and it's scary. And every reason, whatever that is, whatever seems like it's a logical reason to not do it, will show up. And I don't know if that ever stops. I don't know if that will ever stop for anybody. I don't even know if the Dalai Lama, it stops for him. I'm sure he's got some pebbles in his sandals. But you have to at some point, let them go. Let them dissipate. Let them turn into the sand that they really are. Something that is just a grain in comparison to the magnitude of who you are. Because the consciousness of the I am that I am is exactly who you are at all times. And that is living my life like it's golden. Namaste.